I tried to screw it up at Daytona, right? I mean, I come down pit road, like I'm John Force or something.
Lucas Oil Studios, freaks, 24 years of doing this from the Lucas Oil Studios. Statman, Crash Gladys, Kenny Sargent, Austin Hill joining us here in the Freak Nation. You go Daytona, you go Atlanta, you kick some ass out there. Austin, is Daytona one of those tracks, man? I'm always fascinated when drivers talk about rolling into a certain track and they go, we're home, whether it's their home or not. But when you roll into a track like Daytona, it's like, I got this.
Yes and no. I mean, so super speedway racing is tough in general, right? I mean, it's really hard to win at these super speedway style tracks, whether it's Daytona, Talladega, now Atlanta. When I go into those certain race weekends, I'm just trying to do my job, minimize mistakes, do the best of our ability, and hope it's enough at the end. You can't control some things that happen on the racetrack on these super speedways. There's times that you'll get caught up in a wreck. We got caught up in a wreck at Daytona and was fortunate enough that it didn't cause enough damage. We were able to, patch our Bennett Chevrolet back up and get back up to the front and have a shot at it again. So there's a lot of things that are out of your control. So really when we go into those type of weekends, we just go in with the mindset that we're going to control what we can control and hope it's enough.
But what you guys as a team can control at, like you said, these super speedway tracks is incredible. What does RCR have, or what do they know, or what are they pulling from the past that makes them so good, and therefore you guys in the driver's seat able to look so good on track?
Yeah, I mean, it all starts with everybody back at RCR and ECR engines. We build some really fast Chevrolets when we come to these style racetracks. It shows in qualifying with my teammate and I starting up front the last 2 weekends. And, it really is just one of those things that when you have a fast car like that qualifies up front, then it gives you a little bit of that confidence going into the race. If you was to qualify 20th, 25th, you're probably not going to have as much confidence going into the race weekend. So for us, with us starting up front like we've done, it's all the men and women back at RCR and ECR that's getting the job done for us, and then we got to go out there and do our job.
Austin Hill, winners. He wins Daytona. He wins Atlanta, joining us here in the Lucas Oil Studios. Was there ever a point, though, because you knew what was underneath you? You know what Richard Childress can give you out there on the racetrack. Was there ever a time when you're in your head going, just don't screw this up, Austin, because I have a car that could win. I don't care where it is. Like, oh, my God, if I mess this up, it's over.
Yeah, no, so it's one of those things that I tried to screw it up at Daytona, right? I mean, I come down pit road, like I'm John Force or something, and sped on pit road really bad. We had some other instances that happened at Daytona. So it kind of just goes back to when we go into these race weekends, minimizing mistakes, right? So, we have some really fast Chevrolets each and every week. RCR does a fabulous job of preparing us these race cars each and every week. So for us, it's like you said, it's, let's not screw this up. When we have a car that's capable of winning, which we have a car that's capable of winning a lot of race weekends, is we just got to make the whole weekend, come together. It's one of those things that you're not going to win on the first lap. You got to make it through all 300 miles of the race. And so it goes back to, the driver doing his job, the pit crew doing his job, crew chief, everyone that's at the racetrack has to do their job. And that all starts back at the shop as well. We have to prepare some really fast Chevrolets to come to the racetrack, and fortunate enough that we've been able to do that to start the 2024 season.
Austin, you brought this into my mind when you mentioned John Force, the winningest NHRA drag racer in history. I'm always fascinated by this. What other motorsports do you pay attention to, if you have time, that is? I know you're a father. Obviously, racing takes up a lot of your time. But what else do you watch? Do you watch Formula One? Do you watch IndyCar? How much do you watch drag racing, if any?
Yeah, so I'm actually pretty big into Formula One. I watch that, pretty religiously. I always watch it on Sundays. I try to hit the IndyCar races when I can. I record them. Sometimes, some weeks I sit down and I'll go back and watch them. Some weeks I don't. So I'm kind of mixed into that some. One thing that I'm really big into is Supercross. I love watching Supercross. Supercross, always have. Used to go to all the, a lot of the Supercross races, especially back when I grew up in Atlanta, Georgia area. I would always go to Atlanta and watch those. So big into all those types of motorsports. The drag racing stuff, I've watched it some, but it's one of those things. If it's on TV, I watch it, but it's not something I follow along with, religiously or anything like that. But I do try to, if I'm sitting around the TV when I do get time with the 3 kids that I do have, if it's on there, I'll watch it for a little while.
Austin Hill, NASCAR Xfinity Winner in Daytona and Atlanta. I imagine your crew chief keeps a notebook on the tracks that you go to, but do you keep a notebook on places that you go to, and how thick is it when you pull up at a track?
Yeah, we always keep up with, certain racetracks that we've went to in the past. We have a big notebook that we even went back to when I first started at RCR in 2022 that they look back on at previous drivers. Every driver drives a little different, but they already had a pretty good notebook kind of built up, and then we just kind of grew from that. And we kind of just really in 2022 really honed in on my driving style. Do I like it looser? Do I like it tighter than other drivers? And we started building that notebook through 2022 and growing it. And so we've been able to do that in 22, and then obviously in 23 last year, we got it a little bit better. So, when we come into these race weekends, we always go back and we look at, our notes. I take notes. My crew chief takes notes. My engineer takes notes. Everyone's kind of taking their own notes, and we kind of together and kind of come out with what's going to be the best best case scenario going into that race weekend.
So wait a minute. Do I understand you right that you keep your own notebook, or do your engineer and your crew chief and you all share from the same pot of notes?
Well, so we all have kind of our own little notes that we come up with. I have like a driver note that I take, and then I email it in to the crew chief and all that.
Sorry, but I'm cutting you off for a reason. What's in your notes? What do you have? Like, what do you jot in there to say, this is what I want to remember when we come back?
The biggest thing is I look at, for example, if the wind's blowing really hard, is the wind blowing really hard this weekend? Is it hot out? Is it cold out? That type of thing. What race line did I run in for the majority of the race, and what worked for me? What didn't work for me? Did the bottom lane work for me this weekend, or did the top lane prevail? Did rubber get laid down a certain way where when I got on top of the rubber, did I slide around? So there's a lot of different things that I kind of look at and throughout a race weekend. And then I also jot down, how was our pit stops? Did I do a good job coming into pit road? Is there certain things on the racetrack to go off of for next time? Is there like a cone getting into a corner, or a painted line on the racetrack where that could be my lift point or getting back on throttle? So there's a lot of things that I kind of jot down throughout a race weekend that just I kind of think about, and next thing you know, I write it down and I view it after the race weekend's over.
So did your Atlanta notes include where the gas stations are on the last 5 laps?
No, that one didn't include it. No, that was just one of those things that I saved some fuel throughout the run and just had enough.
Yes. Hey, but let's be honest, Austin. I get this. You're a big-time race car driver, RCR, but more importantly, you're a dad. You're an old man to 3 kids, and you're talking about taking notes. We just had a meeting this week with our 10-year-old daughter's teachers, a parent-teacher daughter conference, and she takes damn good notes, man. Are you going to help your kids when it comes to note taking, being the old man, saying, you got to get her to take notes there, son? Girls, you got to take some notes to be smarter than dad.
Yeah, no, I definitely stay on them pretty hard with stuff like that, especially in school. I think taking notes is a great way to go back and view kind of what your thoughts were at that time. And if anyone's like I am, I forget things so easily. So jotting down notes is a sure way for me not to forget it.
Hey, but look, we sound I'm much older than you are, Austin, but we keep talking about notes. There's Google Docs and all these things. Kids aren't going to know what notes are when they're
write them anymore.
Teenagers. They don't write notes. They're going to be some kind of notations that they have that we don't even know about. Austin?
Yeah, no, you're right by that. I kind of do it both ways, honestly, myself. I have like a notepad that I'll write down some stuff, and then I also do the whole Google Docs and all that. So I kind of mesh with both of them.
Could you see Richard Childress saying, hey, Austin, come take a look at my notes? He's going to say, no. What, notes?
Say, are we pulling up a doc? What are we doing? No, it's my handwriting.
Yeah.
Oh, well, this is awesome. Oh, one last thing. Jesse Love's been in the Freak Nation many, many times, and the success he had in ARCA, and you too, frankly. You're not the young one anymore with RCR. You've got a young guy coming in with Jesse Love. Has there been some sit-downs between the both of you, showing him the ropes, or are you just going to let him just flail in the wind and learn as he goes?
No, so yeah, Jesse and I have actually we've talked a lot during the off season going into this season, and one of the big things that we talked about was obviously the super speedway stuff, because that was the first 2 races of the year, and he was really open-minded on listening to me, and I tried to give him as much feedback as I could on things that I do that work on these super speedways. And then going in through the rest of the season, we've kind of started talking already about some other various racetracks on what these Xfinity cars drive like, what they do. So we've worked really well together these first 2 races, and I expect us to work really well together throughout the year.
Nice.
And come to think about it, you two dudes have some badass names. Austin Hill and Jesse Love. It's like a morning show, bro.
Oh, the Love Hill. It's the Love Hill.
There you go.
Rattlesnake Mountain at Phoenix Raceway will be the Love Hill. 8 a.m.
Hey, Austin, man, thanks for taking time out, my friend. Congratulations to this kick-ass start for 2024, buddy.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me on. Hopefully we can do it again soon.
You take car maintenance seriously, and you want to pass on that legacy of care. Use Lucas Heavy Duty Oil Stabilizer to shield your engine from excessive heat, debris, and friction. Trust Lucas Oil. It works.
Back again. Yes, indeed. Ludacris, I'm hotter than Nevada.
Right is right and wrong is wrong. Yeah, we're doing things a little different round here.
Save a horse, ride a cowboy.
Whatever you do, General Tire delivers.